Bryce is the starter, re-emphasizing Bryce is the starter. We're not playing games.
Hey, Panthers fans, this is Alex Bryant with Kitty Lit Podcast. We're doing a crossover podcast. I'm going to let my guest, or not my guest, I guess I'm a guest as well. This is Carolina Dad. He's going, there you go. He's going to tell us about his podcast.
Yeah, awesome. So 2 States, 1 Team podcast. I'm excited to be here. For the people that follow my podcast, I've been talking about having a guest on my podcast for 26 episodes. So this is long overdue. I'm also, which we'll get into in a little bit later, going to training camp. So this is the perfect episode for me to put in while I'm away, because I'm not going to be able to record while I'm down there. So it's like, hey, man, let's collab. I can, talk to your fans. You can talk to mine and just get that rolling. So this is great, and I'm glad to be here.
Bro, 26 episodes, man. That's goals for me. I think I'm at like 7 right now.
I saw though, yeah, you're picking it up though. It's great.
Yeah. So if I don't have somebody to talk to, I'll just talk to myself. It's kind of how it's kind of how it works for me.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked a little bit. So you're born and raised North Carolina. Why did you start the pod?
Oh, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, I would say the primary reason is I've always had a goal to start a podcast. Don't know what that podcast was going to be about. I've had different avenues. There were some guys in my neighborhood that are ultra runners, and they started a podcast about 2 or 3 years ago around ultra running, and that thing just exploded. And at that point, we were about to have a baby, and I was like, well, this is the perfect time to have a baby and start a new podcast. And so that's what I did. And for me, when I thought about like, what is the category that I want to create, I needed something that I was passionate about, something that having a kid, I would be able to, pick things up along the week and not have to spend tons of time prepping and getting ready, and could give my input. And so it was like, it made sense. It was like the Panthers. I watch their games every Sunday. Like, let's go ahead and just add a little bit of my analysis in there, and hey, maybe people will pick it up and follow along. So that was kind of the start for me.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to listen about things that they want to listen to. And for me, I live in New York City, so I never get to talk to Panthers fans. And when I do, or I text them, nobody really cares. So
I'm sure.
Honestly, that's kind of why I started it, because basically I got a new job. I'm having a baby. We're just over 20 weeks.
Super exciting.
Puppy. Yeah. So yeah, I was on the go. I was doing a lot. I was stressed out. When I was like in the bathroom or something, where I was like on my way somewhere, just be looking at stats and stuff like that, and I text some of my friends in New York, and they're like, I don't care.
Yes.
So basically, I was kind of like getting like really down and like weight of the world on my shoulders. So I ended up seeing a therapist, and they were like, well, what do you do for you? And I was like, well, I have all these responsibilities. What do you mean, what do I do for me? And they're like, well, what do you like? And I was like, well, I like the Carolina Panthers. And she's like, do something with that. And as soon as I did it, man, like you said, like it just took off. Like I freaking loved it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So now we have the.
Oh, yeah, you're good. How long have you?
I can meet you. Like we can do this together.
That's it. How long have you been doing this now? I know you said I think 7 episodes.
Yeah, so like 3 weeks.
Nice.
So I've been doing like 2 episodes a week, basically.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you plan to keep that same pace up heading into the season? Or
I mean, just because I am who I am, maybe. But this is just it's new. So I don't know. There's no structure to it. It's kind of like, do I have something to say, and then I'll come on and say it, or does somebody else have something to say that I'm interested in that I want to go back and forth with? So for you, you're going to camp. I live in New York City. Really hard for me to go to camp. So I think you put that on Twitter or something, and it was like, great. Let's see
Yeah,
what he's looking
let's pick it
for.
up.
Like, oh, yeah, exactly. So, but it's what's really cool about this is that we are just two people that don't really know each other very well, that have the same interest, and kind of get to know each other through something that we really really enjoy.
I
So
agree.
what we kind of talk about with our friends that we already know so much about, like how do you feel like the Panthers this season, or like what do you like about the Panthers, or what do you think about NFC South, or what do you think their future? We get to have
Yep.
that conversation brand new, and I think that's really, really, really interesting. So I'm really, really glad that we can make this work because I think it's like really, really cool.
I am too. Yeah, it's like barbershop talk. And for me, like as a new dad, it's hard to find those times to talk to other people. Our neighbor, he's my outlet. He might be in his 60s, but he's from New York, big Giants football fan, which is really cool. So I get to talk to him. We also have a 13-year-old son that we've adopted, my nephew.
Oh
Don't
wow.
even I've already told people this. Don't even ask. He is a Ravens fan. So I have a Ravens fan living in a Panthers household. He the reason that he is a Ravens fan is because when we brought him in, he played Pop Warner for the first time and the county team was the Ravens. And so he said, "That's my team." Of course they had Lamar Jackson, very successful. So I'll always go back and forth with him about just, how are the Ravens doing? I can talk to him about the Panthers. He's a semi Panthers fan. Like he's excited to be going down and meet the players and potentially get autographs and things like that, which is fun. But one of the other things as you were going through there, I was thinking about is like the pace of episodes. So I was just like you when I started doing like 2 episodes a week. And this week has been the craziest for me because we're going to camp. So I'd also promised people I would do like a training camp episode that was really like, how do you get there? What, where do go into the stadium, parking, like very basic stuff. So I recorded that one. I recorded my normal episode and then we have this one. And it has been like, it's insane just with the kid. And for those who don't know, the people who listen to me know that I do these things at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. And that's the norm. But I've been teasing out like, how am I going to do this during the season? Because I think I would love to do like a post game analysis, after the game. It'd be great to just recap that and then moving in to the next game, like doing a preview. And I haven't decided. So like when you were talking about 2 episodes, I was like, man, do I want to do that? And then, but now as I'm like getting into this week where I've recorded 3 episodes and it's just been a nightmare for me. It's been fine, but it's like, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to blend this in. So I say all that because I'll be curious just to see how y'all approach it. It's cool to see other podcasts and their takes. And I know there's like a daily Panthers podcast. I don't know
Oh yeah,
how he
yeah,
manages Julian Council, I believe. I don't know how he manages that. Like it's a lot of
yeah.
work. And even, I mean, I appreciate the work that you put in just for this one to, get us prepared. For those who don't know, like I know what that's like from my end. And so, running it with someone else, very cool. So yeah, this is great, man.
Yeah, I basically I don't know what I don't know. I like and
There you go.
I don't know if you're a fantasy football player, but I'm a fantasy football player. So if you
Yes.
think about because once you get too late on a Sunday, it's tough. But if I were to do like Panthers one
Hmm.
o'clock game and then do the like analysis like you were talking about, like during the first half of the 4 o'clock games, I'd be like,
Yep.
oh, like I kind of want to watch the four
You
o'clock
miss
games
out.
for fantasy purposes, that sort
Yep.
of stuff. So we'll see. We'll see. Right
Yeah.
now, I'm doing this for me. Eventually, and I think people might be interested. But for now, I try to make sure that I have an outlet to say what I want to talk. Like basically, have my
Yep.
outlet. And if it's interesting to other people, great. If it's not, download anyways.
There you go. I love that. And I was gonna say, like, as you were talking, like, about your outlet, that is part of the reason that I did this. So when I was thinking about a podcast, what I did last year with Nolan, who's our son, I would post these videos on my personal Instagram account of breaking down the Panthers, and I'm like, my Instagram followers of my family, and they do not care about the Panthers and my predictions. And so I did that, and I was like, okay, I've got to, like, to your point, do this for me. I
Hmm.
don't. I think I read, and some of the on your website, like you just said, though, you're doing this for yourself, which is why I'm doing it. If you get the likes, you get the downloads, whatever, but it's a good outlet, and I think that's a great reason to be doing this for yourself, which is awesome.
Yeah, and so I don't know how you are. When I was in my early 20s, I can go to the bar 6 times a week, right? So I'd be with my sports
Yep.
fans, I'd be with football fans, and I got that out that way.
Yep.
Like so now, like when I'm getting older, we'll go out 1 or 2 nights a week, and I I always feel bad making football my full conversation with my friends that
Yeah.
maybe care, maybe don't care. So it's almost like I get to do that, but not at the bar, basically, or not at the
Hmm.
restaurant, or not at the somebody's house or something like that. So it kind of makes
Yep.
me feel more like me, I guess, which is I think really helping me have that outlet.
I like it. Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
too. The other thing you were touching on is fantasy. I am a fantasy player. We do a family league, which I think has been shut down because there's 7 or 8 of us, but only me and Nolan keep up with our rosters. So it's not as fun if everybody's not keeping up and doing what they're supposed to. So we've got that, and then I've got another like work league. Then that one's the fun one. But I was looking, some of the tweets. You're getting into the weeds of like points and projection, which was cool to see. So really like that side of it
Mostly,
too.
mostly only with like Panthers players though.
Yeah.
Not really with And I'm actually doing way more Panthers stuff now, so I actually don't really know what's going on with other players.
Hmm.
I need to start getting into that before fantasy season. But
I know,
Panthers are
man.
just so
Drafts
exciting right
coming
now,
up.
man. Panthers are so exciting. So
Yes.
we had an episode. I don't know if I caught an episode where you did projections or if you are going to wait until the beginning of the season. But overall, how do you foresee Panthers in the division or the whole division outlook and Panthers in the NFC this year?
Yeah. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. So, for those that are wondering why I've never had a guest on, this is the exact reason. As we went through tons of technical difficulties on my side with my old 2013 Mac that just decided to go out. So we're gonna pick this back up, starting with a conversation on the NFC South. I was initially talking. Alex, I don't know if you want to give your takes or how you want to do it. I'm cool with whatever.
Well, I don't know when we ended, so I think we probably should
True.
just go ahead and give what you said kind of over
Yeah,
again. So I would
we'll
say
do
just
it.
kind of your overall idea of the overall record that you think they're going to get,
Yeah,
playoffs, where they're going, kind of thing.
great. That works. So yeah, I think now that I don't know if the listeners will be able to know this. So going back, yes, I have made my predictions for this year. My prediction was 10-7. I am going to give like a final prediction before the season starts. And the path that I was going down is that I'm giving this from a homer's perspective. And when we talk about, I know where I was leading with this is so last year we went to training camp for the very first time. I was talking through kind of just, seeing Baker Mayfield, how hyped I was that he was just going to come in here, lead us to the promised land. So I had similar predictions last year, but I think where I was going before it cut out was that it just feels different this year. I mean, across the fan base, I think you've seen some of the tweets that have come through from various reporters that are there, the energy, just the coaching staff that's leading them through this, that it feels like it's a grown up type event. It's business, but at the same time, you also just feel that energy. I mean, you have the number one overall pick in Bryce Young. People are excited. So I think kind of just because we did say, or you did say NFC South. I mean, competition wise, yes, I do think the Saints are a team that compete with us for, kind of the number one overall spot in our division. Falcons as well. You never know, ups and downs with them. And then the thing where I cut off was the Tampa Bay is just the bottom feeder. It's going to be competitive. I mean, it always will be. You just look at how it was last year, losing records. I hope we don't have that. I hope we're competitive and not the worst division in football. I am a homer, so I think the Panthers are going to take the NFC South, and that's part of the reason you do these things as fans. And so, yeah, I'd love to hear your take now on what you're thinking and predictions.
Oh yeah, I'm a humongous homer on. I have more wins than anybody else that I've talked to.
Yeah.
Ricky, we talked about this the last podcast we did. Ricky gave really good comps, and I wish I had specific. Actually, I might have them specific, but he made a good comp of look what Seattle was in 2012. They were 7-9, brought in a
Mm-hmm.
new quarterback, and they were 11-5 of the next year. Joe
Like
Flacco with
that.
the Ravens, his first year, they were 11-5. Andrew Luck took a terrible team to 11-5.
Yeah.
So if you're a quarterback away, there is no reason why we can't replicate that. Especially
Yeah.
Reich came in to the Colts and he took a bad team to 10-6. So it's not like it hasn't been done. So I have them at 12 wins. So I do a chart for the entire league, and I have everybody's game win loss.
Mapped out.
And we have a great schedule. We don't have a
Yeah.
difficult schedule, especially in my opinion, because I am not like everybody else. I think the Saints are going to be really bad, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why they're projected to be really good. We have all the data that we have. Dennis Allen's terrible. Derek Carr is 63-79 as a quarterback. The
Yeah.
offensive line's terrible. The defensive line's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Thomas can't stay healthy.
That's
All
very
their
true.
good players, all their good players. Mario Davis is, I think he's pushing like 35. Cam Jordan's like pushing 35. Uh, Tyrann Mathieu is in his 30s.
Out of his
Kamara,
prime.
yeah, Kamara's suspended. Probably gonna be suspended. He's 28. Look at Kamara's
Yeah.
numbers the past 2 years, and he's injury prone. Like, and so there's not like a lot that like they were 7-10 last year. They weren't a good team last year. I think
Yep.
people are still have like the Peyton Saints in their head, and still
I think
have
so.
and they have what Alvin Kamara was like 3 years ago, and what Michael Thomas
Mm-hmm.
was like 3 years ago, and what Demario Davis and Cam Jordan were like 3 years ago in their head, and it just I mean, they signed freaking Jimmy Graham like
I did see that.
they,
They're like reunited with the team that
so
drafted him that popped up.
I I am nervous about losing, and we were 2 plays away from being 9-8 last year.
Very
Like
much. Yep.
we're 2 plays away. So you were probably, if you thought they were 10-7 last year, they were supposed to be 9-8.
Yep.
But anyways, going back to this, going across your schedule, like one of the toughest games is at Seattle, and we went to Seattle last year and crushed them.
Yeah.
We got to go to
Very true.
Detroit. We destroyed Detroit last year.
Detroit was a monster game
Yeah.
last year.
What? So like they lost Chark, they lost Jamal Williams. I mean, they
Yep.
got Jeremy Gibbs. So maybe they have Jameson Williams is suspended for half the season. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like you go across the schedule and you're like, who's gonna beat us? So we had the
Yeah.
Cowboys. It's gonna be a tough game. Probably gonna lose. We got another couple of games. So I got us to 12-5. I think we drop a couple. I think we probably lose one to the Falcons. We lose the Falcons every freaking year. But
Always
other than
happens.
that, yeah.
I'm
Even when
still
we were
speaking.
supposed to
I'm
face
still
last year.
mad. I'm still mad about the helmet throw. Like in the penalty that was called, and you go back. I say it because there's various clips of NFL plays that pop up on my timeline of players throwing their helmets in
Yeah.
the field of play and whatever. I can't get and the I don't know if you watched the quarterback documentary.
Yeah.
Of course
Yeah.
of course they had that one on
Of
there.
course,
I'm
yeah,
like,
Mark Mariota was there. Yeah.
rubbing in our face the one highlight of his season. God.
Yeah, I mean, we lost 2 division games last year. We should have beat the Falcons, and then we were up huge on the Patriots, and then Tom Brady
Yeah.
us. Tom Brady ain't there anymore, and we're way better than we were last year to play Falcons. Granted, they are better too. So I think I have us winning the division pretty easily. I have Falcons as a slight. They're going to be 9-8 or 8-9. I think they're going to be a tough out because they can run the ball really well. And then I got Saints and
Bucks.
Bucks with 6 wins apiece.
Yeah.
Because they were 7 wins and they got worse. So
Yeah, they're definitely not better.
Yeah, so yeah, I that's kind of how I see it. I think that Bryce has just stepped into like a just a great situation.
He
Um,
did.
and all those guys. I don't know if you. So did you cover? Did you keep up with any of the stuff happening today? I know you were super busy.
Yeah, I did see. I got to, well, yesterday I got to listen to all the press conferences just of
Mhm.
everybody coming into camp. And then the press conferences today, I got to listen while putting the baby to sleep. And then that's pretty much when my Panthers time is. So I did get to see that and then see a lot of the tweets that were coming in,
Mhm.
raving reviews just across the board from everyone. And there's a lot of talk about his intelligence, how he's 2 or 3 steps ahead of other rookie quarterbacks or quarterbacks that we've seen in the past. And how can you not be excited about that? I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It's great. It really is.
dude. 80-year-old Philip Rivers got 11 wins with Frank Reich. Like I am not.
It's true.
I don't. My biggest thing I talk about this on my podcast a lot is why doesn't everybody else see what I see?
Yeah.
And it's just right there in front of you. Like you brought in a coach that won 3 out of 4 years with Carson Wentz, who doesn't have a team, 90-year-old Philip Rivers, Andrew Luck, who
Matt
retired next
Ryan,
year, and yeah, well he didn't finish the season with Matt
Brissett.
Ryan, and Jacoby Brissett, and
Yeah.
that dude didn't lose more than 7 games. Like
Mm-hmm.
he has not lost double-digit games in a season as a head coach ever. I don't even know if he's done it as an offensive coordinator. I have to look it up, but he's too good of a coach, and then we bring in like all these other coaches, and we bring in guys that are used to winning. Miles Sanders in the
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl. Von Bell has been in the Super Bowl. Adam Thielen's been in an AFC Championship game. Hayden Hurst has
Yep.
been in an AFC Championship. Like these guys are used to winning, and they're locked in because they're pissed off, basically,
Yep.
because they've kind of been cast off a little bit, or like everybody's talking Miles Sanders, like you can only do it with the line, like all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So I get really like, and yeah, I don't know why people are just dismissing the Panthers. Especially look at that schedule, man. It is
Yeah.
so easy. It's such
It
an easy
is.
schedule. I would be
It's like
shocked if we
yeah,
didn't win at least 9 games.
once we get into it, I think my 10-7 is kind of the average of what I picked. It's funny. I did the Pro Football Focus. So way back there, I used a lot of their stuff for like
Mm-hmm.
draft preview, mock drafts, and they had like the season simulator. It came out right after the draft or the schedule release, and I did that, and like it was like five wins, 6 wins, 7 wins is what they predicted for the. I'm like, come on, like I don't know.
We
And you
finished
just look at
7 wins last year
yeah,
with
the
Sam
Vegas
Darnold.
odds. Yep. Um. So yeah. This is fun. This is like side tangent. I don't know if the podcast cut off when I was talking about Nolan and his fanhood for the Ravens.
Yeah,
I
yeah. Go ahead, but
no,
yeah,
no,
we
it's
can
good. I
get
can't even remember. Sorry for so if I am repeating
Oh
because this is
yeah,
what
like
happened.
what you can do is get him a Raven Steve Smith jersey, and I think it's
Yes,
fine.
there you
I think
go.
it's fine.
Eyes up that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
So he has a bet with me that the Ravens. I say this we're talking about wins and predictions. He is saying the Ravens are going to win 14 games. I'm like, okay, bro. We're gonna have some family
That
competition going
division
on here.
is brutal.
That's what I
That
tried to tell
division
him.
is
Like,
so
dude,
brutal.
got to get through the
Yeah.
Bengals, Pittsburgh always, and then who knows, wild card Browns. But anyways, yeah,
So you don't realize it until you start going like that's why I do it every single year because you don't realize like who's home, who's away, like how easy your schedule is.
yep,
The Pittsburgh Steelers schedule works out really, really, really nicely. So
nice.
I have them winning the AFC. I'm going to being the number one seed in the
Oh,
AFC just because all their tough games are at home and all
yeah,
their easy games are on the road. So and you look at and they were the third team in the division last year, so you get the third place team in 2 games.
yep.
So that's an easier
Tomlin
game.
doesn't
So,
doesn't have losing seasons. Chalk that up
yeah,
already.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I try to talk myself out of it, but I mean
yeah,
all those and that's why you got to go schedule by schedule by schedule. So I do another podcast called Fanatics, and I did the same thing with the Jets, and because I
yeah,
looked at their schedule and I was like, oh, that's brutal. And then when you go game by game by game by game, you're like, yeah, I guess you're right. I think yeah,
yeah.
they're 10 wins. They're 10 wins
I
team.
have
So I think that's really important when you do predictions.
I agree. I have a unplanned segue, but that was perfect. So I talked about it on mine. Alex Highsmith, Wilmington, North Carolina native, comes
Let's
back and he
go.
does community football camps. And so Nolan got to go to that, which is really cool. Got to meet him, talk to him, go through the camp, asked him if he sacked Mahomes and Lamar. He sacked Mahomes. Lamar's on the list. I say all this. This is going to go somewhere. Alex Highsmith just got his contract and pretty good payday. Brian Burns, we know that's lurking in the distance. What I was impressed is just hearing Burns. I think this is the difference in this team is, questions did come up. Did he think about holding out when he went through his press conference? He's like, no, I was going to be here. I know I'm an integral part of this team. And I think him saying that and like just recognizing as we talk about like what this team is going to be and who they are this year, that like
Mhm.
sets the tone like out of the gate. I know he's going to get his bag, but
Yeah, and I think he's kind of waiting on Bosa a little bit,
for
and Bosa's
sure.
holding out. So I think they're going to wait and see what those numbers look like. Um, they're all like that, and I think they all kind of know. Like
Hmm.
they're all kind of locked in. And I think they're all looking at each other and like we're good. Like we're really
Yeah.
good. And so I'm kind of like giving up my all my thoughts away right now. But
I
like
love it though.
you went to training camp last year, so you saw them. Like they were like kind of like joking around, like kind of having
Yeah.
fun. They were like even when they and so I'm really big on this. When people talk, listen. So
Hmm.
when people were asking Brian Burns and Shaq Thompson, like all these defensive guys, they're like, "Who do you think is going to be the starter?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, they're basically the same."
Hmm.
And everybody was super pumped up about Baker, and you're like,
Yeah.
"The dude just said the same thing as Sam Darnold." Like they are saying
Yes.
that
Yes.
when they people talk, listen, like
Yes.
they would with Bryce first 5 days there, like, "Oh yeah, he's a
Yep.
starter." Like, "Oh yeah,
They knew
he's
it.
like." Even Andy Dalton was like, "Yeah, this guy's
He knew.
yeah, I'm not starting
That's
here." Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I will say like coaching. I talk about it sometimes on mine, and I always told my fans like the people that listen like, yeah, sorry, I always like to bring up rule, but that's the other thing too. Like just the difference in transparency from this year to last year. Like you're saying, like number one that there was a competition. Like I kind of felt like Baker was the guy, whatever. This year, though, just like right out of the gate, like Bryce is the starter, re-emphasizing Bryce is the starter. We're not playing games.
Well,
It's
they said that Dalton was a starter, like before OTAs,
oh yeah,
and
yeah, at the very
like
beginning.
Dalton Dalton was like, "No, I'm not."
He even said he
Like,
knew it was just like a formality. It
yeah,
was funny. I think it was when the Panthers had officially like or they had said yes, Dalton's the starter, and then I think I went out to like ESPN's website, looked at the Panthers depth chart, and they had already pegged. Even though Bryce wasn't pegged, they still had him there. It was just funny. I was like, yeah, people
yeah,
knew.
yeah. Yeah, you always want your guy to earn it, but it always feels good when the entire team's like, this guy's
Yep.
just better. Like they just know it immediately, and he doesn't have to earn it. And this isn't like Dalton. People crap on Dalton. Dalton's been to 3 Pro Bowls. Dalton's been to
Yeah,
play way more playoff games than Derek Carr has.
it's very true.
So he's definitely got some. He started pretty much all year last year. He's a vet, and he thinks he's still good. So for him to come out and be like, no, this is the guy. Like I'm not even gonna
Yeah,
try it out. Like I want you guys to know, so you don't ask me anymore. This is the guy. Um,
exactly.
so we're gonna talk about this way too long. You're going to camp. That's like,
Yes,
really exciting. I wish I could go to
yes,
camp. I haven't been to summer camp
yes,
since I was like 15 years old.
yes.
So I'm really excited for
Yeah,
you.
we are excited. So
When are you
we
going? What events are
yes,
you going
we
to?
will leave tomorrow. We won't attend practice tomorrow, but we'll be there Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday. So get to partake in all the festivities. I always say like we're blessed because my in-laws live there in Spartanburg.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah,
Awesome.
so it just makes perfect sense, and they get to see the grandbaby too, which is like, hey, that's a
Yeah.
bonus for them. This year, though, we are going to do a little bit different. Like last year, just it was new for us, so we didn't really know, and I wasn't doing a podcast, so I think heading into this year, there's going to be a lot to watch. I mean, there's going to be a lot of headlines.
Sure.
I kind of put together 5 headlines myself, just heading into training camp, the things that I was thinking about. I think number 1 for me is the cornerback room. And
Everybody's
the
talking
people who
about
listen
it.
to me, people who listen are probably like, man, you always. My father-in-law joked one time and because he listens, thankfully, and said something like, you just need. He's like, what do you think about the cornerbacks? Like joking, like because that's all I had said. So I will say, today I did get to see though some of the highlights. JC, I mean, it is what it is. They're posting the videos. Horn looks great. Jackson's out there. They're not on the pup list. There is an understanding that maybe they'll be worked in a little bit slower, even though, not full speed on some things, but like that's important. I mean, those 2 guys, but you still have the question marks, like who is going to be behind them or who steps up when someone goes down. So that's kind of like my first thing that I'll be curious. Like it's not going to be solved while I'm there, but that'll be one of the things that I'm looking at as kind of the first
Yeah.
item on my list. But I'd love to hear what you think about our cornerback
Do you know if
room.
they're in pads? Do you know if they're in pads yet? Then
I don't think so. I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
Maybe on Tuesday it might be. I think they
it
do
might be
5 days.
picking up then. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe that's the last day without pads. I'm not
Mhm.
sure. So it might be like a little tough to see. I love. So you saw. I don't know if you looked at the videos on Twitter. There's a video of Dr. Jackson doing drills. He looks
Mhm.
good.
He
I was
does.
shocked.
I was too.
Yeah, yeah. He looks really, really solid. And I was, I thought like you. I thought he was gonna be on the pup. Like I thought he was gonna, like they're gonna ease him in. I mean, if
Hmm.
he, I mean, I don't. 2 things. People talk. Listen, they didn't even bring anybody in for a workout for a DB.
Very true.
So Evero or in Reich, I think they think they're good. So
Yes,
I feel better just by that. 2,
I agree.
Evero had Surtain in Denver, but his opposite Surtain was a 4th round rookie. He can
It's true.
scheme well enough where the deep like I feel like one we didn't have Von Bell is like really helps us at
He
safety.
does.
So when we got burned in those games against Tampa, everybody wants to crap on CJ and
CJ Henderson.
yeah, and Keith Taylor,
Keith Taylor.
as they should,
Yep.
because they got burned basically multiple times. You think after the
Yes.
second time, you'd be like, all right, let me play
Like
off
this
a
is
little
how.
bit.
Yep.
But I mean, overall they were fine. Like, and they were dealing with
Yeah.
Phil Snow. Like it wasn't like they were dealing with Vic Fangio. Like they're dealing with Phil Snow, and
Hmm.
so I kind of want to give them a break a little bit.
Yeah. It was like, were they
People,
even being coached? I mean, really.
yeah, like
You've heard bits and pieces in the off season of people just still talking about the previous coaching staff, and it's
yeah,
just night and day.
yeah. We've seen Dante Jackson be a good player before with Rivera, and he was still a good player. He got dealt with injuries. He's been dealing with injuries his entire career.
Oh,
Um, I'm not sold on CJ Henderson. But it's kind of like the motor thing. It's like, do you like football? I don't even know. But
yeah.
I think we can deal with Taylor. I like Taylor, and I like
Hmm.
Stanley Oliver Thomas. Um,
Hmm.
so I think people have been talking about him. Even Dr. Jackson in the OTAs talked about
Hmm.
him a little bit. I I don't know if I believe in the group.
Yeah.
So that being said, I've seen what Evero's done with not as good talent. So I want to
Hmm.
trust him, and I want to basically kind of the rule I live by. If, if people talk, listen, and they didn't bring in another guy, and like I
I
think they
agree.
think that they're good. And then there's who's the guy? Jamie Robinson apparently is looking pretty good too. So
Oh yeah.
we'll we'll see. But yeah,
Defensive back room's gonna be nice.
I'm actually curious to see who gets cut because it's
I know that's the thing. Yeah, who is not gonna make it? It's funny. I agree with your point that believing in the coaches and like what they see, like as fans, we see one thing. Coaches have a vision. They feel comfortable with who's here. And there's a reason that there was not another cornerback that's been brought in, or other guys that are getting moved up. Even today, like I just looked that we cut a receiver, and I don't have it in front of me, and then we added a receiver in his
Yeah,
place.
Javon
Um,
Mims. Yeah,
yeah,
he's the
and
guy that punched the Saints dude.
oh, he's that's so
Yeah,
now that makes sense that he's trending with that video,
yeah.
because in between us doing all this, I was trying to catch up on stuff, and I saw it, and then I saw that video, but I was just like not paying attention when it popped up. But that's hilarious.
Well, I didn't know who it
There
was
we
either.
go.
Yeah, I was like, I mean,
Oh
he's probably
man.
not going to make this. I mean, I doubt he'll
Yeah,
make the team.
definitely not.
We're gonna have to cut. That's something that I'd like to do for me is watch a little bit because we're rolling out. You have the definite four, right? You know, the TMJ probably making the team, Shark,
Mm-hmm.
Thielen, and Minka. So you know those guys. And then
Yep.
I would be shocked if Chenault got cut. And are we going to carry Shy Smith
Shy Smith. Yep.
and because he made some catches today. There's like Bird and
Bird, I know.
Derek Reich's been playing really well.
I've heard
So
yeah. There's a
so
bunch
like,
of like that's the other one my father-in-law jokes with. He's like, is our wide receiver room full? I'm like, yes, man. Because I
yeah,
say that I'd use that one. Like, dude, that's the point though. It's like, how many are you going to carry?
right.
There is potential, for Shy, you know, returns. See, punt returns,
Yeah.
but then you got Bird, so you may keep one of them for that.
Last year the punt
Blackshear,
return. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but at the same time though, like yeah, who is going to get cut? So
Yeah, and
that's definitely one to watch.
it's so weird because like I think we were like 21st in offensive yards last year, something like that. But I am not worried. There's not one. I mean, people talk about the weapons all the time. Frank Reich doesn't need receivers, dude. Like he just
Yep.
they went 11-6 was the best receiver was Ty had like 700 yards catching. Like
Mm-hmm.
he used the tight ends a lot, he used the running backs a lot. That's why he went and got Miles Sanders. That's why you went and got Hayden Hurst. Like I'm really just not worried about the offense at all. I'm worried about like things in the defense. So I know that you're worried about DBs. Kind of touched on that. I'm glad that you're gonna
Yep.
be watching that. I hope you like text me on the side. Be like, yo, I'm seeing
Yeah,
this person stand out. Give me some eyes and ears while you're
that's
on the
it.
floor.
That's
But
right.
you know, everybody says the same thing. We need a cornerback and we need a pass rusher. So is
Yes.
that something that you're looking forward to?
Yes. Edges. So yeah, for my number 2 item going in, it'd definitely be the edge position, opposite of Brian Burns. Who is it going to be?
Yep.
That's my open question. I don't know who it's going to be. That was another one that I felt like we should have brought someone in. I'm always going to like the again, just kind of like the cornerback. You have to trust the coaches and the staff. I always had question marks when we moved up for Johnson in the draft. Is
Did you watch any
I
of his
don't.
videos?
Yes,
Oh, they were
I know.
rough. It was tough to watch, man. That dude pokes
Yes,
around.
it's yeah. So I even just moving up for him. I haven't been able, like I'm gonna always pull for the guys. But it's like who's gonna? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know.
It ain't gonna be
Don't.
Johnson.
Yeah,
It definitely ain't gonna be Johnson. I'm letting you know
guarantee
right
that.
now. Not this
So
year.
yeah, that's
Maybe next year, but
yeah.
it ain't
There's
gonna
going
be
to be
Johnson this year.
a lot of growth that needs to happen for him. So yeah, that's really my takeaway. And like, how successful can we be? And you use the Pittsburgh example with T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith running in tandem together, and what they are able to do when healthy. And Alex Highsmith having more in different schemes, just different situations, but Alex Highsmith having more production than Burns did last year. But it just shows like if you can get somebody on the opposite side of what that can do, and
Or
you
Watt
just
went
have to
down,
trust.
so
Yeah.
you got somebody else. Like if Burns goes down, what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
Like
if Burns is down, that is like, yeah, because then, he had surgery in the offseason, which he's healthy now, but like, yeah, if something else comes up or happens, who is going to be the replacement to him? And then who's filling in on the weak side? I don't. That's what I think. I don't know what
yeah,
your thoughts are, or if that's keeping you up at
yeah.
night.
Yeah. So what gives me like a little bit of Denver wasn't a great pass rushing team, but they
Hmm.
move, they send people, and they keep the offensive line guessing. They keep the quarterback guessing. So I think we can manufacture pressure.
Hmm.
Um, I looked at YGM today. He looks lean. He looks good. He's moving
Nice.
well. I haven't seen him like actually. He don't have pads on, so we don't see him like
Yep.
actually rush the passer. But it looks like he's putting the work in. Mike K reported on that he it looks a lot. You can see the growth.
Yep.
But Mike K also said that Marquise Haynes is the best player in the field, and
Yeah.
this
I
was
was
in
gonna say it's like
OTAs.
them between them. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it has to be because I love the 3-4 because you can have Shaq and Luvu because I think Luvu
Hmm.
is way better in the inside linebacker
Yes.
position. So I love having him and Shaq right together, and I love having. So they also might just play like a 3-3-5 and have three safeties and play. I have no idea what they're going to do with
Yep.
Chin. Speaking of
Yeah. He's
speaking of the
gonna.
D backs,
Yeah. Nickel flex. I
yeah, yeah,
mean, gotta have him
yeah.
on the field.
Yeah, he's too good. He's too good. And that's another thing. We have these guys that don't seem to really fit. I'll go back to pass rushers for a second. And the
Yep.
two guys that I really want to kind of dig in as far as like learning about uh, TMJ. I didn't hear anything
Yes.
about TMJ today. Everybody's talking about he's going to be
Hmm.
a breakout. There might just not be a spot for him because, or
Hmm.
like maybe Chark's backup because Chark
Yeah.
and Thielen are going to play. Mingo's
Yep.
gonna play. I don't know how much he's gonna play, but he's gonna play. So if you're
I
TMJ,
agree.
like I just don't know.
He's
I
my
don't
guy.
know.
He's like the dude that I've been pegging is like he's got to have a breakout year.
Yeah, he's
He's due.
phenomenally talented, phenomenally, and I think he'll be a great red zone guy because he can win the jump balls.
Yep.
He's just big and strong. But I think he and Shark are a little. Um, they kind of do the same thing.
They do.
So I'll see, but I didn't hear anything about him today. And then Chin's the other thing. It's like if I'm thinking 3-4, I'm thinking on the line. I got Derek Brown, Marquand McCall, or Shai Tuttle, and then
Yep.
Williams, or whoever we're putting on that side of the opposite side of Derek Brown.
Yep.
They can all kind of move within Bravion Roy's in that situation. All those guys. So I think we got our line set. And I think we got our linebackers set, whether it's either YGM or Marquis Haynes, or look out for Amari Barno. He's starting to make a little bit of noise.
Yeah. Barno's
Uh,
definitely a name.
yeah, then you got your three other guys. You got Luvu, Shaq, and Burns. So we already got our
Hmm.
3-4 set. So then you're looking at in the D back area, and you got Woods, Von Bell, and then whoever's going to play opposite of Horn, but it ain't going to be Chin. So
Yep.
where do we put Chin? I just don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. I think we might look at a lot of like 3-3-5 sets and play three safeties. Mike Kay said as much. But yeah, I just wanted those guys that I kind of like. I'm interested in what you see how they use Chin and TMJ. But back on the DBs, I kind of just touched on it too, like Barno,
Yep.
Haynes, and YGM.
Like it.
But
Yeah. I think when I was doing, I think you called it out a few times. Like the success of the Broncos was their defense. So I think having that assurance that we're going to be okay. I've also said a few times, like it feels like Ijero is going to be here a year ish. Like if he takes over or does really well, he's definitely a head coaching candidate. Same thing with Thomas Brown. I mean, across the board. But just speaking through, you know, some of those question marks. That's I don't know. We'll get
yeah,
into it. I know what it was. The other thing that I was thinking of is when I was doing my research on the 3-4 defense, and of course I need to create some kind of Bible here that could just like
yeah,
stats and things
yeah, yeah,
that even in the 3-4 defense, like teams that have that as their base only play out of it 30 or 40% of
right,
the
yeah,
time. So
yeah.
it's
Those go
like,
back and forth. Yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
moving around. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
you
think there's
have
definitely
to.
going to be opportunity.
You can't just sit and yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
But they played. I think they played like a huge amount of time. I think it was like 60%. A lot of time you play
Higher
for three.
number.
Yeah. But I think the Broncos played it more than anybody else. But going back to just like a
Nice.
quick point on your head coaching candidates, because I've been talking about this for a long time, and that's another thing where I'm just like, when people talk, listen. Thomas Brown wants to be a head coach. He ain't coming
Yes.
to some crap team to be a head coach.
Yep.
Everyone wants to be a head coach. He ain't coming to some crap team to be a head coach.
Very true.
Why are they coming here? Adam Thielen can go play anywhere he wants.
Yeah, he
He
could.
chose the Panthers, and he said, "I think I can win a Super Bowl here." Like
Mm-hmm.
there's like when people talk, listen, and they're
Yep.
in the block. They're there. These guys are. Miles Sanders is pissed off because you don't think Miles Sanders could have got $6 million somewhere else?
No, no.
David Montgomery got $6 million somewhere else.
Yep.
Like Miles Sanders could have gone and got $6 million somewhere else. So why are they all choosing the Panthers?
Mm-hmm.
When people talk, listen, man, and if the Panthers are as bad as people are telling them, I think what 7.5 wins. Brown ain't gonna be a head coach. Everyone ain't
Yeah.
gonna be a head coach. You know, they have to be
Nope.
good for them to be head coaches. Why did
Yes.
Andy Dalton come here? Andy Dalton
Yep.
could have competed in Indy for a starting job or
Yeah,
Tampa.
he said he thinks he's a starting quarterback. Like
Yeah,
he could go out and start
he
somewhere else
would
if he
be.
wanted.
You think he
Yeah,
wouldn't start over Baker Mayfield? I
for
guarantee you,
sure.
if he was going to the Bucks, he'd start over Baker Mayfield. So why is that? Why didn't McCown turn down a head coaching job to come sit under
Mm-hmm.
Caldwell and Thomas Brown and Frank Wright? Honestly, I think what they want to create is what the Rams did. Now you got when you're the Rams, you got or even the 49ers. Think about all the 49ers that like
Mm-hmm.
Mike McDaniels, Salah, now Nico Ryan's like, and
Yeah,
then you keep
big
on getting
coaching tree.
yeah, exactly. So they all kind of move up and they all kind of go to be head coaches. And I think that's what we're creating here. So say Thomas Brown is excellent and he go gets a head coaching job. Josh McCown's going to be offensive coordinator.
Yeah, moving
Andy
up.
Dalton sees that and says, "Yo, can I come be underneath you for passing or quarterback
Yeah,
coach?" And
that's
then
what.
he's
Yep,
like,
segue in.
"Yeah, I, I don't, I just don't see why people say, oh yeah, they have a great coaching staff, but you know, look at their.
Two
What are you
hundred plus
talking about?
years
Look
of
at
experience. I
that's
keep
four
joking,
rings
like,
or five rings
yeah,
on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, as a coaching
it's
staff.
insane. I remember like way back when I started my pod, they were posting when the coaching hires would happen. They kept updating the years of experience. It was just funny because it was like 100 years, then it was like 200 plus years. But I mean, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that at all?
Yo, remember when the Lions were trash and they were really, really, really bad, and they got
Yes.
what 25 touchdowns from two guys in the backfield,
Mm-hmm.
and then their running back coach leaves to come to the Panthers,
Yes.
and
Good old Deuce.
he inherits his old running back who just had a
Mm-hmm.
Pro Bowl year.
I know, man. It's gonna be
Like
good.
it's just too easy, and I talk about this all the time. Smart people know this, and it's
Yep.
almost like it's just not entertaining enough to talk about, so they just don't talk
Mm-hmm.
about it. But
Mm-hmm.
these guys ain't coming here to lose. They ain't coming here because they want to be head coaches. Um,
It was, I mean, yeah. When you talk about our off season, I joked about it, but I feel like it was one of the best off seasons, free agency wise, coaching wise, that we've had. And to your point, like people are coming here for a reason to win. A lot of people respect Wright, what he's doing. I know, like this going way down a tangent. I loved Wilkes. I
we
was vying for him, but
yeah,
having Reich here, I feel so at ease. Like, man, this dude, he's got something in him. He's gonna take us somewhere.
he's had one losing season, and that season was 7-9 with Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys, everybody
Yeah, I
like.
can't say much about that.
I think Zach Pascal was his leading receiver one year because everybody else got hurt. Like, guys,
Yeah,
everybody calm down. We
that's
have
right.
gone off the rails, which I told you was
We
probably
have,
going to
man.
happen, especially because what was going to happen is that we didn't talk to each other before. So
That's
you
right,
like
man.
say something, and I'm like, I got to talk about that, and then I
Yeah,
say
you
something,
got to
you're like,
catch
I got
up.
to talk
That's
about
right.
that.
It's good.
So the big question, I'm sure that you're like, what I need to see it in my own eyes. Quarterbacks. What do
Yes,
you think about Jesse
always,
Bryce in
man.
person?
I I'm excited to see it. Number one, just very humble, like person, and you've seen it throughout the entire off season. Great parents, great upbringing. From me, I'm a big college football fan, so I followed him from afar, but never like envisioned him being our quarterback. Like when I was doing my analysis, I was like between Stroud, and then finally I was like, yeah, Bryce is going to be the guy, which it ended up being. Then there was the question around height and durability. He's checking the boxes. I know we're not in pads. I just want to see that. I want to see him in person. I know I'll be able to see a lot of action while I'm there. But when I think like moving forward, I'm ready to see him the joint practice with the Jets. I know they're not going to be taking him to the ground, but just seeing him against another team, and then the preseason, just seeing him out there. What is he going to deliver? Because it's one thing to watch it from the sideline and see the highlights and things like that. So I'm excited as anyone else is about what he's gonna do here. Got high expectations for him. I think he is not too big for the moment. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
my Bryce talk. I'm also very subtly in the background. I want to see Corral because I feel like Dalton's going to be here maybe a year or two, if that.
Yeah.
Corral could be viable long term, or he could be an asset that gets moved. He said, in the offseason that he wants to be here. He understands, his plan. But just he had a kind of terrible entire experience because he gets hurt last year, misses out, has a brand new staff that's come in, and then they draft a quarterback in front of him. I don't think he's not competing. He's not gonna be the starter or anything. I
Yeah.
just want to see him get out there. Is he gonna be a viable backup? Because you never know when something could happen, and having that on your roster is you can never go wrong with having a good backup.
Yeah, yeah, and the new rules now being able to carry three quarterbacks is really really nice
Yep.
for us because we were looking at, do we
Having a
cut him?
cut or
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So I love Corral coming out, and it sucked that he had to. I think he would have finished the season for us if he.
he definitely would have gotten in.
Yeah, yeah. So it sucks that happened. He wasn't able to do that. Uh, and it sucks that Bryce Young is going to be excellent, and there's nothing he can do about it. But go show. Go, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's going to start. I mean, he's probably going to play most of the preseason. But I agree with your take on Bryce. I think we're going to have a really good barometer because you're going to see him and Aaron Rodgers right next to each other, and you're going to see, and that front seven is
Yep.
good. Yeah, Quentin
It's gonna be a
Williams,
good
like,
test.
yeah, yeah. So if you can like kind of do it against the Jets, like I
Good
love
team.
that we get them first. So,
Yes.
but yeah, that's awesome. Anything else that you're like you got in the back of your mind? Like I actually really like this draft pick, but I haven't seen it yet, so
No.
I can see him up close, kind of thing.
Chandler Savala. So he's on the
Oh
pup
yeah,
list.
but he's in the
I
pub.
don't know if
Yeah, he's in the pub.
yeah, I don't know if I'll get to see him. Mingo, of course, Jamie Robinson. I mean, pretty much
Oh
going
yeah,
through,
yeah.
and then DJ John. I mean, going through the whole list there. But yeah, I think Jamie. I'd love to see Chandler. So that's the thing is like player not drafted, but Cade Mays with
Mm.
Corbett out with Zavala on, the pup list and not getting act. There's going to be a competition there, but it sounds like this is Cade Mays' job, at least right now, to lose until things come
Yeah,
into fruition. So,
I think that what I think the plan is that Zavala is going to just be he's going to be what Cade Mays was last year, right? I think
yep.
he's going to sit a year for the most part, take over when somebody gets hurt. I think that this might be Moten's last year. I think Christensen goes to right tackle, and then
Mm-hmm.
I think Zavala comes in. And I honestly think we might need a little bit more depth on the line. I think we probably need one more guy
Yeah.
because Irving's, I mean, he's close to done. Like he,
Mm-hmm.
I don't,
Definitely is.
yeah. So I think we might need a little bit more at both at tackle or like some kind of like. I think Zavala could play tackle if we needed him to, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely way better at guard. But we
Yep.
don't really have a lot of guys behind them. And Ritterer said that today because he was asked about an edge. He's like, we always need an edge. You always want an edge. But
Mm-hmm.
we're also looking to offensive line because you're going to have too many offensive linemen. So I honestly think if we make a move, it might be O line before anything else, because
Yeah.
he said that unprompted. I think he
Yeah.
responded to a
They show
defensive
their
back.
cards.
Yeah, and I don't think he said anything about defensive backs. I think
Yeah.
they're fine. I think they think they're fine.
Yeah.
So we'll
I,
see. I
I,
don't know. I mean,
I agree.
Denver started a fourth round rookie last year, so I
Very
trust that
true.
row.
I didn't even know that stat. So
I think they're fine.
that's good insight there.
Yeah, Surtain and this dude. Granted, he wanted
Mm-hmm.
the job. I think they had somebody else, but they also had Justin Simmons. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's fun, and you kind of see why they bring all these people in. They had Justin Simmons, and I think that safety really, really matters. That's why I
Yep.
think Philly, you might see a step back. You lose Gardner Johnson, it might
Mm-hmm.
hurt you more than you think. Um,
Yep.
uh, um, uh, the Saints kind of saw that a little bit. They brought in Marcus May, but like, yeah. So I don't know. I think they think the safety is really really important. They think the tight end is really important. I think they think the running back's really important, and that's the guys that you bring in, and you have the vet that I think Adam Thielen gets 100 targets this year. I
He
think
definitely will. Yeah.
yeah. I said this earlier. I think he's Justin Herbert's Keenan Allen. Like I think that he's
Mm-hmm.
just going to be looking for him all the time because he knows that
That's
he's got good hands and going to run a good route, and he's a good teammate. Basically, he's not going to like
yeah.
he's got to be like give me the ball more, do this better. Like he's a vet.
I agree. I was
Man,
gonna
we
give you.
actually had a go ahead.
Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead,
no. I
you
was
do
gonna
it.
give you one quick funny. So you said Keenan Allen. So he played high school football against our high school. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
He's so
we
good.
knew then. We knew then. He scored a touchdown. I think every way possible. He had like a punt return, kick return, receiving, rushing, intercepted. Like freaking I have never, when I played, I had never seen an athlete like that, and you just knew he was going to make it. Like it was unreal. But that was all I was going to say about that.
Dude, I think about that all the time. Have you ever looked at Derrick Henry's like high school rushing stats?
Oh my
Like
god,
Jesus Christ! Like
insane!
how do you bring that
Like
guy down when
how?
you're like an 18-year-old kid? Oh man,
Seriously, man.
dude, this was. I can't believe we went as long as we did. This was awesome.
Yeah,
This is
that's
so much
great.
fun. We might have to do it again.
Very good, man.
Actually, you know what we should do? We should do it again after you go to camp and give me all like
Yeah,
little. This is what I saw, kind of stuff.
for
Because
sure.
I think that what you're looking for is kind of like what I'm kind of looking for.
Here you go.
So yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Anything that you want to say? I kind of always tend to dominate conversations, but I think that we had like a nice little back and
Yeah,
forth.
no, it was good. It was good. I like the way you led it. So, and again, for me, for my first time like collabing with someone, so it was cool. That
Yeah,
was great.
I'd love to do it again. We got to decide what kind of artwork we're gonna do. Like, are we gonna do like a slash through and like a little bleed over?
Oh
Or
yeah,
like,
between those. That's
I don't
true.
think you have. I don't think you or I have that much time on our
Yeah,
hands.
I don't think I could. Not at all. That's funny.
Well, cool, man. So I always end up saying, keep pounding. I'm sure you have some sort of thing that you say, and then we'll end it from there.
Yeah, that sounds good, man.
All right, cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, download, subscribe, and what's the other one? Follow and follow.
There you go.
Bye.
Like Bryce is the starter, re-emphasizing Bryce is the starter. We're not playing games.